Plant-based fats, particularly those found in nuts, are proving to be much more than calorie-dense macronutrients. They are active modulators of the gut microbiome and systemic metabolism. Clinical trials examining nut consumption, including pistachios, almonds, and walnuts, reveal that the fatty acid profile of these foods, rich in monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, interacts with gut bacteria in ways that differ markedly from animal fats or highly processed vegetable oils. Rather than simply being absorbed and stored for energy, these fats participate in a dynamic metabolic conversation, influencing microbial diversity, short-chain fatty acid, SCFA, production, bile acid metabolism, and anti-inflammatory signaling. This emerging evidence suggests that plant-based fats from nuts not only support cardiovascular and metabolic health directly, but also act as functional nutrients that nourish and shape the microbiome. Unlike saturated fats from animal sources or refined oils, which have been associated in some studies with gut dysbiosis and increased production of pro-inflammatory metabolites, the unsaturated fats in nuts appear to selectively support beneficial microbial populations. Clinical trials show that regular nut consumption can increase the abundance of SCFA-producing bacteria, such as Roseburia, Lactospiraceae, and Bifidobacterium. These microbes metabolize dietary fibers and, in some cases, the bioactive polyphenol bound to nut fats, producing butyrate, propionate, and acetate, metabolites that nourish colonocytes, strengthen the gut barrier, reduce systemic inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. The presence of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats in nuts seems to synergize with fiber and polyphenol, creating a more hospitable environment for these beneficial microbes and amplifying SCFA production, an effect not seen when similar calories are derived from saturated or highly refined fats. The interplay between nut-based fats and bile acids offers another mechanism for microbiome modulation. Dietary fats stimulate bile acid secretion, and the gut microbiota metabolizes these bile acids into secondary compounds that influence microbial composition and metabolic signaling. Unsaturated fats from nuts appear to promote a more balanced bile acid profile, encouraging the growth of microbes that support anti-inflammatory pathways and insulin sensitivity, while limiting species that thrive in inflammatory conditions. This contrasts with diets high in animal fats or processed oils, which can shift bile acid metabolism in ways that favor microbes associated with endotoxin production and chronic low-grade inflammation, highlighting that the type of fat consumed can have far-reaching microbial and metabolic consequences. Polyphenol bound to the fat matrix in nuts add yet another layer of benefit. These plant compounds are metabolized by gut bacteria into bioactive metabolites that reduce oxidative stress, improve lipid metabolism, and enhance SCFA production. The combination of unsaturated fats, fiber, and polyphenol makes nuts uniquely synergistic. The fat improves the bioavailability of polyphenol, while fiber and polyphenol feed beneficial microbes, which in turn amplify the metabolic and anti-inflammatory effects of these nutrients. In this way, nuts act as functional foods, where the sum of their components delivers more profound health effects than any single nutrient could provide. Clinical studies demonstrate tangible outcomes from this microbiome nut-fat interaction. Participants consuming daily portions of nuts often show increased microbial diversity, higher SCFA output, and improvements in markers of metabolic health, including fasting glucose, insulin sensitivity, and lipid profiles. In contrast, studies comparing isocaloric intakes of animal fats or processed oils rarely show these synergistic microbial effects, even when total calories and macronutrient content are similar. This reinforces the idea that plant-based fats are metabolically active in a way that promotes gut resilience, anti-inflammatory signaling, and improved metabolic outcomes. The benefits extend beyond metabolic markers. By supporting SCFA production, nut-based fats help maintain gut barrier integrity, reducing the likelihood of endotoxin leakage and chronic inflammation. This has implications for cardiovascular health, immune modulation, and even satiety regulation via gut-brain signaling pathways. Evening or bedtime consumption of nuts, for example, may enhance overnight SCFA production, stabilize glucose levels, and support microbial circadian rhythms, illustrating that the timing of plant-based fat intake can further optimize these microbial and metabolic benefits. From a practical perspective, incorporating nuts into a daily diet is accessible, versatile, and sustainable. A small handful of pistachios, almonds, or walnuts can be enjoyed as a snack, added to salads, blended into smoothies, or sprinkled on oatmeal. Over time, these consistent choices feed a microbiome that thrives on fiber, polyphenol, and unsaturated fats, producing metabolites that support systemic health while reducing reliance on processed or animal-based fats that may not provide the same microbiome-driven benefits. In essence, plant-based fats from nuts do more than supply calories. They act as functional nutrients that actively feed the microbiome, enhance SCFA production, reduce inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. Unlike saturated or refined fats, these unsaturated fats create a microbial environment that supports diversity, resilience, and metabolic efficiency. By embracing nuts and other plant-based fat sources as regular components of the diet, individuals can harness the synergistic power of fat, fiber, and polyphenol to cultivate a gut ecosystem that promotes long-term metabolic, cardiovascular, and systemic health, turning everyday snacking into a strategic, health-enhancing practice.